How do people get on so fast?
Well,
I keep the link open from now on. I've just learned to do that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? I have to direct email.
Karen, you were saying that there are still going to be problems.
So like people are going to turn on 5th flying as they do, and then they're going to see that it's closed, and they're going to make a turn on a 10th, and and try and get through. There's just going to be more anger issues. We already know that people are flying through on 5th, and there is not any, that stupid one little sign is not helpful at all. So I'm just concerned about the more cut through traffic that's going to happen. But at least we will still have Maine accessible, because that, I will also say that I mean, this is just conjecture on my part, but even once the shoe fly is built, it's still it's not the regular path. It's going to be this other path. So I'm imagining that trains are going to slow down. Like some of the trains, they're zipping, they're going really fast when they're crossing over there. And so if this is kind of like this temporary track thing, I think everyone, at least for a while, is going to slow down until they're sure that it's, like, oh, this is a solid track. And so I think we're going to run into more issues with, even if the trains aren't stopped on the tracks, they're going to take longer to get through. So just, I don't think there's anything we can do about that, but anyway, but yeah, they're not both closed. So we don't have to do a letter writing campaign. We don't have to do anything like that. It was a misunderstanding.
I'm glad that it was a misunderstanding. I really hope that we can get a better pedestrian crossing there. I think it's really miserable as it stands on Main. Any other comments before we move on to our last item of business tonight on this, on the tracks or anything like that? Great. Our last item that we're gonna possibly have a vote on tonight is the letter that Mark has drafted. Mark, how would you feel about reading that letter to us, or would you like me to? Oh, you are muted still.
Oh, Fafs, please do.
Okay, it will be my pleasure. Give me just a moment to pull it up. So I want to read aloud this letter that Mark and Maxie have drafted, and we are deciding tonight if we're going to adopt it as it is, or if we want to ask for any changes to it. So keep that in mind. And I shared it on the email if you want to take a look at it. Or maybe Mark shared it on the list. Okay.
And this in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat also. Thank you. All right. Coming up. All right, so this is to City Council, Mayor, Tohono O'odham Nation, Menlo Park Neighborhood Association, and anyone else that we desire. Friends, we write this letter to elevate the importance of rethinking the approach to processes currently underway regarding the future use of the 27-acre site at the base of Sentinel Peak /A Mountain. While this site is not in the Dunbar Spring neighborhood, we consider its significance as a cultural heritage site and open space to merit community focus and action. Further, we find that the current ownership and approach to development flawed and strongly suggest that the site's history be re-examined in an open and public manner before further actions be taken. We also understand that the site was once offered to the Tohono O'odham Nation, along with the stipulation that the nation be responsible for the remediation of a City of Tucson landfill that was active at the site in the 1950s. We celebrate the intention of this gesture, but also suggest that the proposal of reparation, coupled with the requirement to also clean up the land, was insufficient We encourage the city and Rio Nuevo to work with the nation to determine what level of landfill remediation is necessary for the nation to welcome receiving the land back. We stand with the nation and others to lift up the incredible history of people living and sustaining community in this place. Further, we understand that the Menlo Park Neighborhood Association is undertaking a strategic planning process and that this site is within their jurisdiction. We stand alongside our neighbors as they consider issues related to their well-being, their interconnectedness with the other neighborhoods, and encourage and support their careful consideration of future uses of this site as part of their process. We also understand that the current ownership of the land is held by the Rio Nuevo district, and that its organization's purpose is to support development that leads to tax revenue. There are options outside of expensive landfill waste removal and inappropriate development that would generate such revenue through ecotourism, like the creation of a desert park or cultural heritage site, and we support such options. There have been many mistakes made by the civic leaders in the past regarding this site. Displacement of the Tohono O'odham in the early 1800s and putting a landfill there in the 1950s, just to name two examples. And placing this important cultural heritage site in the hands of economic developers is one of them. We propose that Rio Nuevo district immediately stop pursuing development to develop the site, and instead the city, the Tohono O'odham Nation, and the Menlo Park Neighborhood Association engage in a process to reach an outcome that lifts up the cultural and environmental value of the site for generations to come. Framing this as an economic development project with a landfill remediation problem is a mischaracterization of what could and should happen at with this land. Many groups are organizing to oppose the development of this land, and we are in alignment with a set of reasons to maintain open space as outlined below: environmental protection, wildlife connectivity, archaeological preservation, cultural and ethnic continuity, historic preservation. And here are some bullet points. Honor the Native American ancestors who historically and currently stewarded and cultivated this land for millennia. Honor the cultural and religious importance of the spring and cienega, which provide the essential water that led to Tucson's existence. Protect the Santa Cruz River and its floodplain. Protect the regenerative value of riparian vegetation for climate mitigation and riverbank stabilization. Protect and assure safe habitat and wildlife corridors between the Santa Cruz River and Tucson Mountains, which provide essential access to water for birds and all wildlife. Potential to highlight the city of Tucson by creating a unique urban riverside park in the Sonoran Desert. Create a unique amenity that will attract and educate cultural and ecological tourists to generate and increase dollars from tourism. Finally, to protect our dark skies. The next section is neighborhood improvement and preservation bullet points. Value the historic legacy of the landscape, viewscape, and the land use of the property. Avoid further gentrification and maintain long-term residents. Address the scarcity of green space and trees within Tucson's urban core. Mitigate heat generation, provide shaded urban cooling, improve air quality, and increase carbon sequestration. Provide outdoor recreation space for community enjoyment, health benefits, and quality of life. Suppress additional traffic noise and disturbance to neighborhoods. Provide learning opportunities for youth and students of adjacent and nearby neighborhoods. Offer learning opportunities for visitors and the public at large. Offer job opportunities to youth to maintain vegetation and steward space. Reflect community values as repeatedly expressed by Tucson voters, Proposition 400, etc., to support historic, cultural, and ecological restoration. Maintain solar access to neighborhood homes and complement bicycle loop and Santa Cruz River path. In our discussion on this topic, it is nearly impossible to separate it from the acute need for affordable housing and other remedies to eliminate homelessness in our city. The current ideas for development would not solve either of these problems. We encourage the city and all parties to prioritize affordable housing and the elimination of homelessness as it considers all land use strategies at this site and across the basin. Economic development drives many decisions in city planning, and we suggest that an alternative approach be taken with this site. We encourage civic investment to fix the wrongs of the past and to lift up the beauty of our desert basin and the rich history of people living here for more than 4,000 years. In solidarity, Dunbar Spring Neighborhood Association.
Excellent reading, Fafs.
Hey, thank you. Excellent writing, Mark. Oh, I'm off the screen. Yeah, some people have chimed in with comments and suggestions in the document, which I appreciate. I see Karen has a hand up.
That is an excellent letter, and there's a lot of great points, and I would feel a lot more comfortable sending this letter if Menlo Park is comfortable with us sending this letter, because it's in their neighborhood. And so that would make me feel a lot more comfortable if we could send it to them and see at least what their board thought of it. It feels like we're making some assumptions, and I think they're right, but I would feel a lot more comfortable knowing that they're like, yeah, right on, this helps our cause, rather than doesn't help their cause. So that's my concern. But it's an excellent letter. Like I'm not necessarily saying to change the letter at all. I just want to make sure that they're okay with it.
Okay. So Karen, we can think of that suggestion as a friendly amendment. Before we tackle that amendment, let's see if anybody has any specific changes they would want to make to this letter before we adopt it. Sky, it looks like you're talking, but I do not hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, hear you now.
Okay. Basically I was just saying that I think the letter sounds great. I like it as it is. Same thing as Karen though. It'd be nice to make sure that other neighborhood is good with it.
Amendment from Karen. Mark, the amendment, as I understand it, and Karen's correct me if I'm wrong, would be that we would first send this letter as a draft to the Menlo Park Neighborhood Association, and if they appreciate it and welcome it, then we could send it on to city officials. Does that state your amendment? Okay. Mark, do you accept that friendly amendment?
Sure.
Fantastic. And from Lisa, a question in the timeline, or a question in the chat says, is there a timeline? From my understanding, we agreed to send this letter last month, and Mark graciously drafted it along with Maxie's help. And the goal was to vote on it to approve it at this meeting. And then I would send it out after that. And so this friendly amendment would push that timeline back perhaps a month or more while the Menlo Park Neighborhood Association would consider it. So with that understanding, yeah.
But as soon as you know they give it okay, then we'll send it without bringing it back to this meeting, right?
Yeah, that would be correct. Yeah,
great.
Thanks, Guy. I see Abra has a hand up, and Abra, go ahead.
Yeah, I had read the letter previously and had a couple of comments, and I guess I can't see my comments now because I'm kind of hopeless with this online thing. But I guess I'm just worried that we're discussing a lot of different things here, and one is okay, give it back to the Thana Autumn. Another is address homelessness, and maybe all of these things can sort of be put in this letter as they are, but and maybe it's okay just to bring everything up and say, hey, we're just supporting, a lot of discussion here. But I guess I'm worried that some of these things sort of don't work together. So I just, maybe it's okay, and I would still go ahead and approve it. I might change one thing, like to work with the nation to essentially welcome back the land. I mean, like, I feel like there's just too many points in here. Maybe it is a really well-written letter, but I feel like there's a lot of pieces. And so I'm not sure what we as Dunbar Spring are trying to suggest other than open the conversation. I'm not sure.
Thanks, Abra. There's a couple comments I want to read in the chat from Lisa. Oh, and one from Karen also. Karen, go ahead. It says one last correction. Oh, Dunbar/Spring or Dunbar Spring should have a slash in it. That's good. I can make that correction. Lisa asked, could we approve now pending Menlo's okay? I can direct respond to that yes, that is something we could do tonight. All right. Any other discussion before we have our vote?
I mean, I feel like somebody should respond to Abra's thoughts. Maybe I think that maybe at this point it doesn't matter, and that we can just throw it all out there. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, Sky.
Yeah,
It is just really opening up a conversation, I think.
after that, I feel similarly. Great. So I think Mark has moved that we send this letter. I don't even know what the procedure is. I think we can just vote on sending this letter. But maybe let's motion in second just for the rules of order. Though we already had a motion last time, and this is a letter to, or a motion, vote to confirm that. So Mark, will you give us a motion?
Sure. Let's see. The motion is to approve the letter and for authorizing FAFs to check with the Menlo Park Neighborhood Association in advance of distribution, to send it along as is if they're in alignment, and to consider changes prior to distribution if issues come up from Menlo Park.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Karen. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand. All right, keep your hands up just for my ease of counting. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from Lisa. All those, thank you. You can put your hands down. All those opposed. I count 0. Any abstentions? Okay, 1 abstention. So the motion passes. And I will take care of forwarding that letter. Thanks, everyone. The last orders of business we have tonight are any announcements or notes from the field. Karen, go ahead.
Just a quick announcement, you can get free COVID tests at the library. So it's first come, first serve. We usually go through a chunk and run out early afternoon, and then we get another stash towards the end of the day. They recommend getting 2 tests per each household member, but they're free. And then also right now we're doing something that's like a holiday, I don't even know what the word is, but like mental health holiday help for that. It's a kit. It's like a little kit that you can take home, and it's a stress relieving. I guess that's it. It's like a stress relieving kit for the holidays that is available on the same table in the front with the COVID tests. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you. I have an announcement on Wednesday, which is the solstice. The Splinter Collective is having our annual solstice party. This time we're doing it as a little bit of a fundraiser. The tickets are sliding scale. And if you're interested, come on down. We'd love to see you. Wednesday evening, the 21st. Any other announcements or reports from the field? Great. Hey, thanks everyone so much for your civic participation, and it's great being in the neighborhood with you. I have one thing. I would love to, I think, get more people involved. And anybody that wants to chat with me, Karen and I have had some chats about that before. Hit me up. Let's think about how we could make this even better, because I haven't thought of everything. And anyway, in the meantime, thanks very much. I like seeing y'all once a month, and we'll see you around.
Hey, Fafs, the minutes are pretty much done, I think, ready for your review.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'll post them on the list tonight.
You do a little cleanup first, but they're 99% ready.
Great. Got it.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a
Happy
good holiday.
holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye now.
Bye-bye.